Could a humble penny from 1936 really be worth $1.5 million? You heard that right. A coin once used to buy bubblegum could now buy you a mansion. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history, origin, and astonishing value of the 1936 no-mint mark wheat penny, one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. history. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you love rare coins, hidden treasures, and numismatic mysteries. Let's rewind to 1936. America was still climbing out of the Great Depression. Unemployment was high, but hope was on the rise. Franklin D. Roosevelt was re-elected for a second term, and the average person earned about $1,700 a year. Every cent counted, literally. That same year, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln wheat cents, named for the wheat stalks on the reverse side. These coins were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But the ones made in Philadelphia? They had no mint mark, which is what makes our focus coins so mysterious. The 1936 Philadelphia penny is actually quite common. Over 309 million were minted. So how did one become a $1 million coin? Great question. Keep watching. Let's break down the design. On the obverse, or front, you've got President Lincoln's profile, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, are faintly visible on the shoulder. On the reverse, the words 1 cent are flanked by 2 wheat ears, giving it the nickname, wheat penny. Now, here's where things get interesting. Coins minted in Philadelphia didn't carry a mint mark. That's normal. So a no mint mark doesn't automatically make a coin rare. But it's the errors and variants that change the game. Some 1936 pennies were struck with doubling errors, most notably the 1936 double die obverse, DDO. This means the coin's front was struck twice, creating a noticeable blur or doubling effect, especially on Liberty, the date, and In God We Trust. Only a few of these error coins exist in pristine condition. And here's the kicker, one of them, a 1936 no-mint mark DDO wheat penny, graded MS-66 read by PCGS, sold for over $1.5 million in a private sale. That coin looked virtually untouched, brilliant red luster, flawless detail. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and demand that skyrocketed its value. So what's your 1936 no-mint mark penny worth? Let's break it down. But remember, value isn't just about age. It's about condition, rarity, and eye appeal. That $1 million coin? It's the holy grail of 1936 pennies. So, how do you know if you've got a hidden gem? Check for doubling, especially on Liberty and the date. Look at the coin's color. Red coins are more valuable. Inspect for scratches, nicks, or wear. Get it graded by PCGS or NGC if you think it's special. Professional grading can mean the difference between a $10 coin and a 6-figure payday. Who knew a penny from the past could be worth a small fortune? The 1936 no-mint mark wheat penny reminds us that history lives in our pockets, and sometimes it's worth $1 million. If you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment with your favorite coin, and subscribe for more amazing coin stories and hidden treasures. We're diving deep into the mystery, history, and value of the 1937 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. Is it truly worth nearly $2 million? How rare is it? And why are collectors so obsessed with it? Let's find out. The Lincoln wheat penny was introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, with wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity. It remained largely unchanged until 1959. Now, let's fast forward to 1937. It was the height of the Great Depression. Americans were struggling, and coins were being minted in massive numbers to stimulate the economy. In 1937, pennies were struck at 3 different mints. Over 300 million wheat pennies were minted in 1937, with the Philadelphia Mint producing over 309 million of them, making the no-mint mark version extremely common. So, why would this penny ever be worth $1.90 million? Here's the twist. The vast majority of 1937 no-mint mark pennies are not rare. You could buy one today for just a few cents to a few dollars, depending on condition. But once you enter the world of coin grading, things change fast. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70, with MS 70, mint state, being a perfect, flawless coin. A 1937 wheat penny graded MS 67 or higher with full red luster is extremely rare. These coins were never circulated, meaning they remained untouched and perfectly preserved for nearly 90 years. Combine that rarity with historical interest and collector demand, and boom, you have something truly valuable. In 2021, one of these pristine 1937 pennies sold at auction for a record-breaking $1.9 million. The color and surface of the coin also play a massive role. Graders classify coins as an MS 67 red 1937 wheat penny is what every collector dreams of. And keep in mind, out of hundreds of millions minted, only a handful of MS 67 red examples are known to exist. That's what makes them so valuable. While the most common 1937 wheat pennies are worth just 1 to 50 cents, high-grade versions can fetch. But remember that $1.9 million price tag. That's from a private sale of a coin with flawless luster, stunning strike, and eye appeal, essentially museum quality. It's the pinnacle of coin collecting, rarity, perfection, historical importance. So, can you find one? Technically, yes. But realistically, finding a flawless 1937 penny in the wild is nearly impossible. However, you never know what might be hiding in a grandparent's coin jar, a flea market bin, or even your pocket change. Always check your coins, especially those older than 1960. You might just uncover a tiny piece of treasure. 1941. America was on the brink of entering World War II, and the U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins for a rapidly growing economy. In that year, the U.S. Mint struck over 887 million Lincoln wheat pennies. These were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with the familiar wheat ears on the reverse. The vast majority were produced at three mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But wait, why would such a common coin, with hundreds of millions minted, be worth over $1 million? Here's where things get interesting. Most 1941 no-mint mark pennies are only worth a few cents in circulated condition. But a tiny handful, and we mean tiny, have something different. These rare versions include coins with die errors, double die adverse, unusual metal compositions, or near-perfect mint state condition. One such coin graded by PCGS as MS 68 Plus Red fetched an astounding $1.7 million at auction. Why? Because of its condition, rarity, and historical demand. In coin collecting, condition is king. The higher the grade, the higher the value, and a 1941 penny in MS 68 Plus Red is nearly flawless. We're talking perfect strike, full red luster, zero visible wear. It's like it came off the press yesterday. So how do you know if your penny is worth a fortune? Start by checking for the mint mark. No letter? That's from Philadelphia. Now check the condition. If it's scratched, worn, or dull, it's likely only worth a few cents. But if your coin looks new, has its full red copper luster, and possibly has a double die error, you're in business. Have your coin graded by PCGS or NGC. A verified grade can make all the difference. Now you might ask, why would someone pay millions for a penny? Collector demand. As more investors see rare coins as stable assets, prices are soaring. Plus, there's emotional value. These coins are tangible pieces of American history. Only a handful of these high-grade 1941 no-mint mark pennies exist, and wealthy collectors are competing to own the best. It's the perfect storm: limited supply, growing demand, and historical prestige. So, the next time you're checking spare change, don't overlook that 1941 wheat penny. What seems ordinary might just be extraordinary. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, always keep an eye out for, who knows? You might be holding $1 million mistake in your hands. If you found this video helpful, hit like, drop a comment below if you've got a 1941 penny, and be sure to subscribe for more stories like this one. You never know what treasure you'll find next. 1944 hiding in plain sight, worth not 1, not 10, but up to $1.8 million today. Sounds unbelievable? Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving deep into the legend of the 1944 no-mint mark wheat penny, what makes it so rare, where it came from, and how it became one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. The year is 1944. The world is engulfed in World War II. In the United States, every resource is focused on the war effort, including metals. The U.S. Mint had made a drastic change the year before. In 1943, pennies were struck in steel coated with zinc instead of copper, which was needed for ammunition and electrical wiring. These 1943 steel pennies are relatively common and are often mistaken as rare, but here's the twist. In 1944, the mint returned to copper for pennies. But due to leftover blanks, called planchets, from 1943, a few steel coins accidentally got struck with 1944 dies, and the opposite happened too. In rare cases, bronze or copper planchets from 1942 were still lingering in the machines. These blanks were accidentally used for pennies struck in early 1944, leading to the creation of copper 1944 wheat pennies, most of which were normal. But the rarest of them have no mint mark, and that changes everything. When a coin has no mint mark, it means it was minted in Philadelphia, the original U.S. Mint. Most coins from Philadelphia didn't carry mint marks until the late 80s. But the 1944 penny gets interesting because of a unique error. In 1944, over 1.4 billion copper pennies were minted across the country. But a few were struck using leftover 1943 steel planchets, making them appear silver in color, or vice versa. However, the real prize is when a 1944 copper penny from Philadelphia is perfectly preserved, shows no mint mark, and comes from an extremely low mintage batch. Out of those billions of 1944 pennies, only a handful have the right characteristics, making them million-dollar coins. And one of those just sold for over $1.8 million at auction. In recent years, coin collectors have pushed the value of rare pennies to unbelievable heights. One 1944 no-mint mark wheat penny in near-perfect MS-66 grade, which means mint state condition, fetched a jaw-dropping $1.8 million in a private auction. But why so valuable? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. Collectors want coins that are not only rare, but in pristine condition. If a coin is one of maybe 5 or 6 known examples in the world, and it's flawless, you've got yourself a $1 million penny. Now you're probably thinking, wait, do I have one of these in my drawer? Let's find out how to tell. Flip the coin over. Is the year 1944? Look under the date. Is there a mint mark? If not, that's step 1. If you find a 1944 penny with no mint mark, and it's not sticking to a magnet, you might just have a copper Philadelphia wheat penny. If it's in top condition, get it professionally graded. Who knows? You could be holding a fortune. Coin collecting is more than just a hobby, it's a journey into history, mystery, and sometimes even millions of dollars. So the next time you get change from a store, don't just toss that penny, inspect it. You never know what secrets it might hold. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more numismatic adventures, and drop a comment if you've ever found a rare penny. And hey, check your change. Your next fortune might be sitting in your pocket. 1945 no-mint mark wheat penny that every coin collector, history lover, and treasure hunter needs to hear. Let's dive deep into this iconic coin's history, its true value, and whether that $1 million story is fact or fiction. The wheat penny, officially called the Lincoln Wheat Cent, was first minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, replacing the classical figures used before. From 1909 to 1958, these coins had the famous wheat ears on the reverse side. That's why we call them wheat pennies. Let's zoom into 1945. It was the final year of World War II. The U.S. Mint was producing massive amounts of coinage to support the war economy. That year, over 1 billion Lincoln cents were struck, And here's something important: the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the majority of 1945 cents, didn't use a mint mark at all. So if your 1945 wheat penny doesn't have a letter under the date, it was made in Philly. So, a 1945 penny with no mint mark? Totally normal. In fact, it's the most common type from that year. Now let's talk numbers. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion 1945 cents. That makes it one of the most common wheat pennies ever made. So why the buzz about a $1.6 million price tag? We'll get there in a second, but remember, most 1945 no mint mark pennies are worth just a few cents, maybe 50 cents to a few dollars in circulated condition. Every now and then, a coin collector stumbles across a rare error, or a coin in perfect condition, and that's when values can go through the roof. So, could a 1945 no mint mark wheat penny really be worth $1.6 million? Well, maybe, but only under some very specific circumstances. There are rumors online of a 1945 penny sold for $1.6 million, but there's no official auction record to back it up. Most experts believe this was either a mistranslation, exaggeration, or internet myth gone viral. Still, the 1945 wheat penny can be valuable in certain cases. If you've got a flawless 1945 penny, especially graded by PCGS or NGC, it could definitely be worth holding onto or selling at auction. Let's address the elephant in the room: scams and fake listings. There are hundreds of listings online claiming ridiculous prices for common pennies. Before you get excited, always check auction records, use trusted coin grading services, and consult reputable dealers. And if someone offers you $1 million for your penny, get it graded first, and don't send it in the mail without insurance. Here's what you should do if you think you have a rare 1945 penny. Check the date and mint mark. Look for errors, double dies, off-center strikes. Check the condition, scratches, wear, luster. Use a magnifier and scale. Wrong metal equals jackpot. Get it graded, PCGS or NGC. So, is the 1945 no mint mark wheat penny worth $1.6 million? Probably not, unless it's an extreme error coin or in pristine condition. But still, every coin has a story, and this one connects us to a time of great change in the world. That alone makes it pretty special. Have you ever found a 1945 penny in your change jar? Or maybe you have a coin collection from your grandparents? Drop a comment below and tell us your story. 1946 no mint mark wheat penny, its origins, its secrets, and how one lucky coin collector turned copper into pure gold. Let's rewind to 1946. World War II had just ended. America was rebuilding, soldiers were returning home, and the economy was shifting gears. During this time, the Lincoln wheat penny, also known as the Wheatie, was still in circulation, with its familiar design, Lincoln's bust on the obverse, and two wheat stalks flanking the reverse. In 1946, the U.S. Mint produced pennies in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia Mint, unlike the others, traditionally did not use a mint mark, so the majority of pennies from that year have no mint mark at all. So, what makes this particular 1946 no mint mark penny different, and worth millions? Here's where things get fascinating. While hundreds of millions of 1946 pennies were made, only one has been confirmed to have an extremely rare die error, a misstrike so unique that it turned this common coin into a collector's holy grail. Experts believe this specific coin was struck using a leftover planchet from a 1943 steel penny, or possibly contains an unusual copper alloy composition or die doubling that occurred during striking. This was never meant to happen. These types of mistakes are like nature's rarest anomalies, flukes that somehow slipped past quality control. When this error was authenticated by Professional Coin Grading Services, PCGS, it was assigned a high grade for both condition and rarity, catapulting its value into the millions. The most famous example of this 1946 no mint mark penny was discovered by a hobbyist in the late 2000s. After sending it for grading, word quickly spread in the numismatic community. It eventually made its way to a high-stakes auction, where it sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million to a private collector. Since then, this penny has become a legend. Not only for its financial value, but for what it represents, the idea that treasure can be hiding in plain sight. So, could you be sitting on a fortune? Here's what to look for. It must say 1946 with no mint mark under the date. The rare one is slightly lighter than typical copper pennies. You'll need a precise gram scale. Some experts suspect it's on a leftover steel planchet or transitional metal. A magnet test might help. Look closely for any doubling, misalignment, or odd textures under magnification. If you even suspect you've got something odd, send it to a professional like PCGS or NGC. Coin values are driven by rarity, demand, and condition. This unique 1946 penny has all three. While one version has sold for $1.8 million, even pennies with lesser errors or high mint state conditions can fetch thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And as coin collecting grows in popularity, demand for rare errors and historical coins like this has skyrocketed. Some collectors now even invest in coins like others invest in gold or art. The 1946 no mint mark wheat penny teaches us that sometimes, the most valuable things aren't buried in treasure chests, they're hiding in your pocket change. So next time you see an old penny, give it a second look. You might just be holding history, and a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more coin stories, and drop a comment if you've found anything cool in your change lately. And if you do think you've got a rare penny, tag us or DM, we might feature you in the next video. 1948 no mint mark wheat penny, its history, rarity, and why collectors are willing to pay a fortune for the right one. Make sure to stick around till the end, because we'll break down what to look for in your own coins, and the truth behind that $1.5 million price tag. The year is 1948. World War II has ended, and America is moving into a new era of post-war prosperity. Amid this transformation, the U.S. Mint continues producing the Lincoln wheat cent, which had already been in circulation since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat penny features President Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse, a symbol of prosperity and national pride. In 1948, these pennies were struck at two main U.S. Mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver have a little D mint mark under the date. But coins from Philadelphia? No mint mark at all. That's totally normal. Philadelphia didn't mark its coins at the time. Over 317 million 1948 pennies were struck in Philadelphia alone, which means the average 1948 no mint mark penny isn't rare. But as you'll see, rarity comes in the details. So what could make a common 1948 penny worth millions? There are a few possibilities, and they all revolve around mint errors, high-grade condition, or unique varieties. Let's break them down. Coins are graded from 1 to 70. A 70 is a flawless, mint-state coin. For 1948 no mint mark pennies, most circulated and got beat up. But a perfect or near-perfect MS68 Plus Red RD version? That's extremely rare. Some of these have sold at auction for $10,000 to $30,000. But what about $1.5 million? Collectors go nuts for double die errors, where the design is accidentally stamped twice, slightly offset. If a 1948 penny had a dramatic double die, it could command serious money. So far, no confirmed 1948 no mint mark double dies have reached that level. Other rare errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or transitional metal errors, but none known to push values into the $1 million range. Sometimes coins are struck on the wrong metal, like a bronze planchet instead of steel, or with experimental compositions. These one-of-one coins can skyrocket in value, like the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent, which sold for over $1 million. If a legitimate one-of-a-kind 1948 penny with a spectacular minting anomaly ever surfaced, say a double denomination or a transitional error, then $1.5 million might be possible. You may have seen headlines or TikTok videos claiming a 1948 wheat penny sold for $1.5 million. But let's set the record straight. After deep research, there's no verified auction or dealer record showing a 1948 no-mint mark penny ever selling for that amount. These viral claims often come from clickbait articles, misleading listings, or coins shown with artificially inflated prices on eBay. eBay sellers might list a 1948 penny for $1.5 million, but that doesn't mean it's actually worth that much, or that anyone is buying. Always check reputable sources like PCGS, NGC, or Heritage Auctions for real sales history. That's where serious collectors do business. If you have a 1948 wheat penny at home, here's what to do. Is it bright red, uncirculated, and flawless? You might have a high-grade coin. Use a magnifier. Look for doubled letters, off-center strikes, cracks, or missing parts. A penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it's off, it could mean a wrong planchet or composition. If you think you have something special, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. And remember, even a regular 1948 wheat penny in decent condition is still a great collector's item, just not $1 million one. So, is a 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny worth $1.5 million? Probably not. But could one be worth thousands under the right conditions? Absolutely. Got a 1948 penny? Drop a comment below and let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a rare coin reveal. And check out our next video on the 1943 copper penny, a real $1 million coin story. 1950 no-mint mark wheat penny, its mysterious history, unique characteristics, and how it became one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our rare coin deep dives. Let's start with the basics. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was first minted in 1909, commemorating Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features Lincoln's bust on the front and 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent on the reverse, hence the name wheat penny. The wheat penny ran until 1958, and millions were minted each year. But not all pennies are created equal, and the 1950 no-mint mark wheat penny is living proof. In 1950, pennies were minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Here's the kicker: Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark at that time, so any penny without a D or S was struck in Philly. In total, over 272 million pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1950, which makes the no-mint mark coin common, right? The vast majority of 1950 no-mint mark pennies are worth just a few cents to a couple of dollars, unless you happen to have the one special error or high-grade variety that collectors would kill for. So why did one 1950 no-mint mark wheat penny recently make headlines for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million valuation? Let's break it down. The coin was certified as MS67 Plus Red, one of the highest possible grades for a copper coin. That's like finding a perfectly preserved car from 1950 with 0 miles on it. The red designation refers to the original copper luster, which fades over time. Fewer than 10 coins from that year have been found in this pristine, red condition. Some experts believe the $1 million coin may contain a subtle die error, like a double die obverse, DDO, or a repunch date, which can skyrocket its value. When you combine rarity, condition, and historical appeal, you get a perfect storm that collectors can't resist. So how did this coin end up at a value of $1.8 million? In a recent private collector auction, a pristine 1950 no-mint mark penny sold for an astonishing price after fierce bidding. It wasn't just about the coin, it was about owning a piece of numismatic perfection. And the market is hot. Rare coin values have been rising thanks to increased interest from investors, social media hype, and a growing awareness of vintage coin collecting. Even more amazing? You might have a valuable 1950 penny in your change jar right now. While yours may not be worth millions, if it's in great condition or has an error, it could still fetch hundreds, even thousands. Want to know if your 1950 penny is a jackpot? Here's what to check for. No mint mark, Philadelphia Mint, uncirculated condition, nowhere. Bright red color, look for doubled letters, repunch date, off-center strike, get it graded by PCGS or NGC if it looks promising. If your coin meets even one of these criteria, it's worth investigating further. The 1950 no-mint mark wheat penny might look like just another old coin, but with the right combination of rarity and perfection, it can be a literal $1 million treasure. Got a 1950 penny lying around? Check it now, you never know what you're holding. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and let us know in the comments if you've got a rare coin story to share. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating world of numismatics. This is signing off, and reminding you, sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. 1951 wheat penny, one without a mint mark, has shocked the numismatic world with a recent sale at that astronomical price? Welcome to another episode of Coin Chronicles, where today, we dive deep into one of the most talked about coins in recent history, the 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. To understand why this penny is so valuable, we have to go back, way back to 1951. America was still recovering from World War II, and the Cold War was heating up. But in the everyday lives of Americans, the Lincoln wheat penny was a common coin, jingling in pockets, buying gum, and used in payphones across the country. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, had been in circulation since 1909, the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it featured Lincoln's bust on the obverse and wheat stalks on the reverse. In 1951, these coins were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Over 284 million pennies were struck in Philadelphia alone. So, why would a no-mint mark penny be worth millions? Normally, a 1951 no-mint mark penny is only worth a few cents, maybe a few dollars in pristine condition. But one penny, one extraordinary penny, changed the game. So what made it special? Here's the catch. It's not just about being old. It's about era, condition, and provenance. This particular 1951 penny that sold for over $1.4 million had a near-perfect MS68 red RD grade, making it one of the highest-graded 1951 pennies in existence. It had brilliant luster, perfect strike quality, and absolutely no wear, a miracle of survival and circulation. On top of that, it had a double die obverse error, a rare misalignment during minting, making the date and lettering appear slightly doubled under magnification. In the world of coins, grading is everything. Coins are graded from poor P1 to perfect mint state, MS70. Each step up in grade, especially in higher ranges, increases the value exponentially. Most 1951 pennies found today are in circulated condition, worn down and brown. You might get a few bucks for one in MS64 red. But this coin? This beauty? It was graded MS68 red by PCGS, one of the most respected grading services in the world. Combine that with the double die error, and suddenly, you're not just looking at a common wheat penny, you're holding a numismatic unicorn. In a high-profile auction held in early 2025, this exact coin sold for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. The buyer? An anonymous collector who called it the crown jewel of Lincoln cents. It shattered previous records for wheat pennies and ignited a new wave of interest in mid-century coinage. Now, here's the exciting part. Could you be sitting on a fortune? If you have a 1951 penny, especially without a mint mark, here's what to look for. Bright red color with no spots or wear, doubling on the date or lettering, sharp strike details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks. Send it for grading, use PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. Even a slightly lower grade or partial doubling can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny reminds us that treasure isn't always buried deep. Sometimes it's sitting in an old coffee can, a dusty drawer, or your childhood coin collection. Whether you're a serious collector or a casual enthusiast, keep your eyes open. You never know, the next $1 million penny could be in your hands. 1951's wheat penny has made headlines for being valued at a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. How is that even possible? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating history of the 1951's Lincoln Wheat Penny, its origins, design, production quirks, and why one rare version is turning heads in the collector world. Let's start with the basics. The Wheat Penny, officially known as the Lincoln Cent, was introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, a bold move at the time. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse shows Lincoln's profile, while the reverse, until 1958, featured two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. The S mint mark on the 1951's Wheat Penny means it was minted in San Francisco, which produced fewer coins than the main Philadelphia Mint. In 1951, the San Francisco Mint struck around 136 million of these pennies. Quite a lot, but not all were created equal. So, if over 100 million were made, what could possibly make one 1951's Wheat Penny worth $1.80 million? Well, most of these coins are worth just a few cents to a couple of dollars, depending on condition. But among them are ultra-rare varieties, errors, and exceptionally well-preserved specimens that defy the odds. The coin that fetched a multi-million-dollar valuation was in mint state condition. We're talking MS-67 or higher, according to the Sheldon grading scale. But even that doesn't fully explain the price. The real kicker? This coin had a double die obverse, a rare minting error where the coin's image appears slightly doubled, making it a dream find for numismatists. Mint errors are like genetic mutations, most are minor, but once in a while, one changes everything. In the case of the 1951's, known errors include double die obverse, doubling of numbers or letters. Off-center strikes, where the coin isn't properly aligned during minting. Die cracks, visible lines on the coin caused by aging equipment. But it's the double die obverse that takes center stage in this million-dollar story. Imagine a perfectly struck, flawless coin, with a rare doubling error, in original luster after more than 70 years. That's a once-in-a-lifetime combination. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, $1.8 million. Yes, that's what one collector was reportedly willing to pay at a private auction for a pristine, error-laden 1951's Wheat Penny. According to insider reports from the numismatic community, the coin in question was graded MS-67 plus read by PCGS, featured a highly sought-after double die obverse, had full original red luster, rare for coins of that era, came with pedigree, meaning it had a verified provenance, which adds to collector trust and value. These factors combine to create the perfect storm: rarity, condition, historical appeal, and collector frenzy. Let's bring it back to reality. What's your 1951's penny worth? Depending on the error, values range from $50 to thousands. But remember, for a coin to reach the $1 million mark, it has to tick all the boxes: near perfect condition, significant error, and strong provenance. So, got a jar of pennies lying around? Here's how to check for a rare 1951's. Look under the date for an S mint mark. Use a magnifier to check for doubling on the Liberty and In God We Trust. Check luster and scratches, the fewer, the better. Get it graded if it looks promising. PCGS or NGC are industry leaders. Who knows? That penny stuck in your couch cushions could be your golden ticket. Coins aren't just change, they're miniature time capsules of history, art, and even mystery. And in rare cases, like the 1951's Wheat Penny, they become legends worth more than gold. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and want more rare coin stories, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what rare coins you own or want to learn about next.